Remember last week we were doing negative exponent and zero exponent? So here's the review for negative exponent. The formula for negative exponent is a to the negative n equal to 1 over a to the power n. Whenever you see a negative, the negative just means reciprocal. For example, if I have 2 to the power 3, but we have a negative, original 2 to any whole number, if you write it in a fraction, is over 1, right? So since we have a negative here, the negative means whatever negative apply, which is 2 to the power 3, will be flipped, will be moved upside down. That's what we call reciprocal. So if you move it upside down, is there anything on the top? Nothing on top, then it will be 1. And then what's going to be at the bottom is 2 to the power 3. Where's the negative? The negative is used to flip the number upside down. Okay? So let's take a look at the first question. Our first question, it's a fraction already. It's 1 over 2 to the power 8. If you want to write it in the exponent form, if you look at the formula, it's just backwards, right? So 2 to the power 8 is negative. So it's 2 to the negative 8. And when you have the negative exponent here, 2 to the negative 5 or 3 to the negative 5, then we know it's 1 over 3 to the power 5. So it's B. And when you have a variable, remember variable, treat them just like a number. So 1 over x to the power 3, when you write exponent, it's just x to the power negative 3. It's really straightforward, huh? Let's move on. Now we are looking at multiply and divide powers with integer exponents. Same idea. It's just with negative number, basically. So the first question, 4 to the power 6 times 4 to the power negative 8. It's multiplying powers. So when we're multiplying with the same base, you add the power up. So 6 plus negative 8. Remember we talked about in class, when you add and subtract integers, always treat the positive, a plus sign as a positive and minus sign is negative, but here we don't have to worry about it, right? But when you add the number up with the same sign, you add the number up together and take the sign. So if you have 6 plus 8, you add the number up, 14, you take the sign, which is positive. If you have negative 6 minus 8, negative, negative, still same sign, you add the number up 14, you take the sign negative. But if you have to add the opposite sign. For example, 6 minus 8, like the question we have here, positive and negative. Then you got to subtract the number. 8 minus 6 is 2. You got to subtract the number and take the sign of the bigger number. The big number is 8. The sign is negative, so it's negative 2. So if you have negative 6 plus 8, it's still opposite sign, negative with positive, and then you subtract the number, which is 2, and take the sign of the bigger number, which is a positive. Okay, so here, excuse me. So here we have 6 minus 8, basically. So opposite sign, you subtract the number, which is a 2, but it's a negative. Okay? However, remember in your final answer, you cannot have a negative exponent. So what we just learned is when you have a negative exponent, it's the reciprocal. So 1 over 4 to the power 2. Next question, same idea. 8, negative 8 plus 3. So you get a to the power negative 5. And you cannot have the negative exponent in your final answer. So you got to rewrite them into reciprocal. When you have the variable as the base, same thing. A 5 plus negative 3. Basically, it's 5 minus 3, so a to the power 2. And then, if you have x 2 minus 12, you got x negative 10. Then you cannot have the negative answer, so it's 1 over x to the power 10. But what if you have division? When you have division, you just subtract the power, right? So 4, 11, subtract negative 8. Minus is what? Plus, right? 11 plus 8, you get 4 to the power 19. But here, you got 5, 10 minus 12. You get a negative answer. Same thing, 1 over 5 to the power 2. So in this practice in the Khan Academy, the answer they ask you is to the 5 to the power n. So your final answer will be like these, okay? But on the test, well, basically in the future for the ACT, you cannot have a final answer for integer as a negative answer. So whenever you have a negative exponent, you always have to rewrite that into the reciprocal. Our last part is powers of products and quotient. So, very straightforward. It's the same idea that we did before, okay? But just with integer exponents. So we have a negative 2, and we have to distribute to each. So 3, negative 8 times negative 2. Multiply 7 to the power 3 and then negative 2, right? So power over power, you multiply the power. So 3, negative 8 times negative 2 times 7, 3 times negative 2. What you get? Negative 8, negative 2 multiply 2 times 8 is 16. Negative, negative become a positive. Times 7, negative 6. However, remember, well, which is C right here. But in your final answer, 7, negative 6 cannot be the final answer, right? So in real life, if you treat it, the whole thing as a fraction, remember when you have a negative, it has to go reciprocal, it has to go upside down. So what's left on the top? 3 to the power 16. In the bottom, 7 to the power 6 comes to the bottom, and 7 to the power 6. Let's do one more practice with the expression. So here, x to the power negative 3, and then the negative 7 will be distributing, right? Then 7 to the power negative 3 will have the negative 7 on top, and y to the power 3 will have negative 7 on top. So power over power multiply, x negative 3 times negative 7, y 3 times negative 7. So x negative 3 times negative 7 is 21 times y 3 times negative 7 is negative 21. And then if it's a fraction, negative will go upside down. So top will be x to the power negative 1, the bottom will be y to the power negative 1. Can they cancel? No, they cannot, because x and y are two different variables. It's like x is apple, y is pear. Can you, if you have 21 apple and eat 21 pear, can you cancel the apple with the pear? No. So basically, x and y, you can represent them as two different numbers, like 2 and 3, or 4 or 5. So when they have two different numbers, you cannot cancel them out. Good luck. We have tests on Friday. Oh, sorry. Last part. Last one. A to the power 0 is 1. Any number to the power 0 is 1. So 2 to the power 0 is 1. X to the power 0 is 1. Negative 7 to the power 0 is 1. We talked about it last week. Okay, just remember anything to the power 0 is 1.